All right, welcome in everyone. This is week 1 Auric League Winter Tournament. Today we have Vicinal versus Sinister, starting out with the Plague set. Sinister picking Plague. We're going to be playing on Suffopit version 1. We do see some corrupted gens, and it looks like Dub's going to go around trying to infect some of these mid gens and try to protect the generators and keep the survivors from being able to stealth in and get any early gen progress. A bit of a 4 gen on top side. We might see the Plague try to defend this top side as well as middle gen as long as possible and try to get the survivors out of the game before they're able to break that gen control. We're going to be looking for any survivors trying to cross here. They definitely spawned on Shack side somewhere. The survivor's doing a decent job of stealthing, but we do see somebody trying to cross over to top side. We're going to be taking chase over here, over near the log pile, making sure that gen's contaminated as well. We find Jake a bit out of position here. This is going to be an injury coming through on the Jake. He's trying to dodge that Biopurge as long as possible. Delaying the pallet stun. The pallet does go down there on 3. We're going to go ahead and break that. Jake's going to try to take chase back towards the corrupted side of the gens, so the rest of the team's able to cross over. We're not going to commit to chase there, though. That makes total sense, as we do also see scratch marks of somebody trying to cross over, just as I thought. And this survivor is going to pre-leave this generator and go straight for the main building, a very strong loop to try to waste as much time as possible. Looks like another survivor may have also crossed over and started the main generator progress as well. We find the Kate here looping around main building. We'll see if they decide to take chase on this top side of the map or if they want to cross over to bottom side as well. We know Corrupt has been up for a while, but it is going to be running out soon. There's the M1 coming through on Kate. Trying to get that infection, not quite able to land the Vile Purge, so we're going to go ahead and leave her as she's already injured and go back to defending these generators. A kick and a vomit coming through on the main gen as well. We do see the gens highlighted in yellow with eruption being applied. These survivors not wanting to give any early downs, trying to make sure that they're not caught out of position at all. It is nearly impossible to heal against the Plague without giving her more power, so we will see the survivors likely staying injured the whole match, so just trying to get as much gen progress as possible. We find a third survivor here. This is Ace taking chase near the bottom left side of the map. We are going to go ahead and take an early dose of the Plague's power here. Trying to defend these gens as Corrupt has come down now, so all generators are open for the survivors to go ahead and start progressing those gens. We'll see how well they're able to attack this topside 3 gen. 8 is going to be, I think, going down here on the bottom side of the map. We do see Eruption proccing as well. And that'll be the first hook coming through for Sinister. We're going to carry the survivor back towards the top side as much as possible. It looks like they are trying to defend this top side generators. We see Pain Res coming through as well. That'll delete the progress of the most progressed gen. And we're going to go back to checking these gens as well on the top side. You see the Plague is not too concerned about any of the generators on bottom side. There is likely one survivor working on the bottom side generators on Shack side, and the other 2 survivors probably somewhere on the top side trying to break this 4 gen. Gonna come back and check around the hook, make sure we're not giving any free unhooks. Also, since the power ran out, we are able to infect the survivor on the hook. They were injured but not infected, just ensuring that they're not able to ever heal up after they do get unhooked. There's the 1 generator popping on Shack side. And now the bottom side 3 gen is completely broken, but I don't think the Plague is interested in the bottom side gens at all. We are just going to be defending top side here. Is that going to be an unhook? No, it looks like they're going to delay that just a little bit longer. Survivor on the hook with the 70-second hook timer does have a little bit longer than survivors used to have. We have DCs coming through. We're going to reset. All right, we are back into this plague set. We did have to reset for a banned perk use. The pain res is not allowed on A tiers in Auric League this season. The plague had that on, so we did have to restart this match, and Sinister will get a half hook stage penalty. Nothing too crazy, but we do have to restart the match to get a new build on. We do see the plague spawning on bottom side this time, but still kind of having this 4 gen on top side with 3 of them being corrupted, and then this 10 o'clock gen being open, but that is going to be infected to make sure that nobody's able to sneak over there and get any early gen progress. And now we're going to be looking around, making sure no survivors are able to cross over the middle map for free. Going to be trying to send some of that Vile Purge over the hill here. Looks like we're not going to connect on anything there, but we do find a survivor. There was somebody there. They're going to go immediately back to main, and now the survivors, since the killer did extend a little bit far to the top side of the map, able to cross over without being injured, but they are definitely known about. We do see scratch marks of somebody. I'm not sure who that was. And now the Plague is in a bit of an interesting situation here where topside gens are corrupted, but that is the better side of the map on Suffocation Pit to defend here. Ace is going to get infected around main, and we are going to go ahead and leave that chase, I think, and try to use the rest of our corrupt to defend the gens. Nope, the Kate was also here. Not able to get an infection on the Kate. All the while, we do know there's at least one survivor, maybe 2 survivors that were able to cross over to the bottom side of the map and are progressing gens on Shack side. Gonna get the infection there on Kate next to main building and look for an injury here on Ace. Very nice. We'll see where the survivors want to take chase and where they want to push the progress on the generators. We do see a bottom side gen popping. We knew survivors were going to be down there working this side of the map. And now that one of these gens is done, the survivors are definitely going to be trying to take chase away from top side of the map to get progress on top side gens as the corrupt intervention is over now. An injury does come through on Slasher, and we are going to, looks like, try to confirm it down on the Ada. Near swing and a miss there at the window. Very nice vault from Ada. And the Plague is going to opt to just leave that. We do have 2 survivors injured and 1 infected to be injured very soon. We also see Thanatophobia coming into play. Every survivor injured giving a slight slowdown on gen progress, so delaying the injury on at least 1 survivor as long as possible to try to keep the full effect of Thanatophobia from taking over. Survivors are doing a great job, I have to say, of maintaining their distance, getting leaving the gens early, I should say, and making sure they're not giving out any free tags to the killer here. It's like some hitbox validation on that first Vile Purge, but the infection does come through, and then an injury on the Jake. So now we do have all 4 survivors injured. Gens are going to be slowed down a bit from Thanatophobia, and the Plague is going to go ahead and leave that chase as well. They're really trying to defend this middle gen. I'm interested where the gen progress is coming through, though. We do see Chase going towards bottom side of the map, which tells me there's probably survivors working on the top side. This is nearly a 5 gen with this this 8 o'clock generator not being too far down on the bottom side of the map. With all 4 survivors here injured as well, the Plague does have the option to take power. It looks like maybe they thought about it. Gonna go ahead and apply Eruption to that gen as well, and now we're gonna take our power and try to use this power to the best of our ability to get it down and try to get somebody on the top side of the map. But survivors are being smart. They're pre-leaving everything and just getting away from the 3 gen as quickly and as early as possible. We do see a survivor near this hill here. A bit of the hitbox of the hill coming through and blocking that attack. And it looks like this might be our first down of the match. But a great death spot coming through from the survivor team, from Vicinal here. Now that down did take quite some time. However, only 1 gen has popped so far. But I expect there's gen progress being made for this chase being all the way on bottom side. Now this hook is very far away from any other gen progress. Plague's gonna go ahead and take the power from this hill because this area is not where the killer wants to be. There's no gens to defend here and really nothing that they can do besides take their power and go back to the top side of the map. Remember, this killer does have a half hook stage penalty as well, so that will effectively be one less hook stage that their killer will have to get to match the result, basically meaning a tie would be a win for Vicinal. Power being active, the survivors are being quite stealthy. We do see the unhook coming through. But survivors just opting to play this slow and smart and wait for the Plague's power to run out. Once they are out of Corrupt Purges, the survivors are kind of in the driver's seat as far as collecting the killer's power goes. They're not going to be able to get any more Corrupt Purge. Like doing their best to try to zone the survivors back towards the top side, but survivor pathing being very well played there at the TNL wall at 3. And we are going to make a pallet here in the middle map. Nearly hits that, but the vault came through just in time. Good check spots held by the ace. And that is going to be the end of the Corrupt Purge as well. Effectively turning Plague into just an M1 killer at this point with no projectile. Good pallet fake from the Ada. They should have enough time to make it back around to this pallet. We'll see the pallet going down here now. And that is one of the 4 topside gens, I think, being completed. And Ada is going to go down here somewhat in the middle map. That's not a bad death location for the Plague. They're going to be able to carry the survivor back to the top side. And I think we'll see a little bit more camping from this hook than we did from the first one, being on the other side of the map. We do still have a bit of a 3-gen on top side with the right side of main. And this hill gen. This hill gen is not the safest place to be for any survivor that doesn't have balanced landing or a way to use their exhaustion to get out of this area. But good communication and pre-leaving that generator to not be caught out in the open. We do see one survivor off to cleanse on the far side of the map. That's that pool that the Plague doesn't really like that spot because there's nothing in that corner of the map. The generator in that area has already been completed, so the Plague, if they want to get their power back, has to go all the way to the other side of the map to get their Corrupt Purge again. But what that does do is it heals up the ace and counters the full effect of Thanatophobia from taking effect. And this is kind of expected, the Plague defending this top side of the map. We get a hook here, and we're able to kind of just hang out in this area and not let the survivors come and get this unhook for free. Survivors are going to go ahead and get the bottom side gen complete now. And now there's really not much besides, I think, one far gen down there on the bottom side. A very stealthy ace comes through for the unhook. That was the healthy survivor, so he's not going to have to go down for this. He does get infected, which will eventually injure him again, but very well played from the survivors getting in there and getting that unhook without having to trade. Now we do see the Plague thinking about trying to tunnel out the Ada here. However, they still have 2 hook stages to go. And Ada doing exactly what she needs to do by taking chase away from the main building and towards the bottom side of the map. See how long this Ada is able to last for their second chase. A great pallet stun and a blind coming through. I expect them to go straight to the bottom side. Yep, straight towards Shack. With that stun, Plague not going to commit to this and decide to go back to the top side gens here. Ace is still here trying to get some progress on this 10 gen. I am a little bit worried we haven't seen the 1 o'clock gen, and there it goes. Just as I start to say something, the survivors had snuck in and broke the 3 gen entirely. So now we have 2 gens topside and 1 bottom side. This is going to be nearly impossible for the Plague to defend the generators at this point. They need to get some stages on the board, and now that will be a down on the ace. Eruption definitely helps with that, and being able to regress gens from a distance, but this was only going to be the 3rd hook stage coming through, and the survivors have a great gen spread for the end game here. We know there's a little bit of progress here at 10, but at this point you have to be concerned about what progress the survivors could have on the bottom side of the map. And there we do see the final gen popping. That is going to be end game for Vicinal. That gen likely had a decent amount of progress for a while. The killer is opting to take chase down to the bottom side of the map. They do find Ada. Ada was already hooked once. There is one survivor who has not been hooked yet. Would be an ideal down for the Plague to secure as many stages as possible. I believe that's on Jake. But the Jake's going to be stealthing. Now that we did have to come all the way back down to the bottom side of the map, we do get one more use of our Corrupt Courage. We'll see if they can clutch up anything in the end game here and secure as many stages as possible. We do see survivors going ahead and cleansing, especially the Jake, that's G-Bot, who has not been hooked yet. He's the fresh hook survivor, and the Plague definitely wants to get that 3 extra stages if at all possible. But they'll take anything they can get at this point. The other 3 survivors all still worth 2 stages. Not even going to commit to the chase on that survivor, as they were probably looking for their fresh hook at this point. This bottom side gate is nearly done, though. That is going to be the Ada. And I think Ada is going to go ahead and die down here in the bottom left corner. And the other survivors at this point should be able to get out that top right side gate. We do see the gate opening. Plague is going to take their 2 more stages. And that'll be 5 hooks, 4.5 hooks with the half stage penalty. And we'll see what the Vicinal Killer can do after this match. Are we going to get a Mori? We're going to get a Mori. We'll see if the Vicinal Killer is able to secure a win for their team. All right, welcome back. We are in on trial number 2 for the first set here of the Plague. We're watching Sinister play Survivor now and Vicinal on the Killer. We are going to see the Plague spawn in near the main building and have a pretty decent gen setup on the top side here, and all the corrupted gens being down on the bottom side of the map. That's a very good corrupt spawn for the Plague. A negative to this setup, I think, is having your power spawn down on the bottom side of the map, but it looks like they have some options for power on top side as well. Bringing those 2 apples, giving you 2 extra places to pick up your power at any point during the match whenever you so choose. We are going to venture up to the bottom side, I should say, rather, and look for any survivors trying to cross over. We'll see how stealthy these survivors are able to play and delay the effective corrupt as much as possible. We do find a Jake on the edge map there. Very good game sense from the Plague, picking up on the survivor on the edge. We get the infection relatively early and an injury and a pallet down already. This is a very good start for the Plague, and they do need to secure 5 stages if they want to secure the win for their team. With that half hook stage penalty, a 5-stage result would be all they need. We do see one of the corrupt pools here next to the log pile, and the survivors being extra cautious to try to leave this early and take chase away from the open generators in the early game here. Nearly gets an infect on Renato, but they are able to dodge. Another long shot from the Vile Purge, not able to connect. We are going to go ahead and leave that chase. We also see a no-mither perk choice in this game, which is quite interesting, as you are expected to be injured nearly the entire game against Plague to avoid giving them as much power as possible. That allows you to avoid the possibility of getting your entire team slugged at any point. Plague is going to go back and check these generators, make sure nothing's getting too progressed around the main side of the map. Going to break that door out to make any chases here a little bit easier. We hear progress on 2 separate gens on the main side, but the survivors pre-stealthing away from these gens. Very good comms from these survivors. Checking around a little bit of the edge map, not able to locate which survivor was sneaking in and getting progress in this gen. I'm going to go ahead and kick that and make sure it starts to regress as well. Somebody's got to be stealthing around here, but they are playing very well and not found by the Plague so far. We see a couple of either blown skill checks, I think, leaving that gen. Like, gonna just patrol this top side of the map for gen and make sure that we are not giving up any potential for survivors to break this early. We do see the Renato coming in and getting progress, sneaking in there to that top mid gen. But as soon as the play comes over, they are going to get immediately out of that side of the map. There's the infect coming through. We now have 3 survivors infected. I don't believe the Plague actually puked on the Alan Wake as well, so they got themselves infected by getting on a generator somewhere. And now taking chase to the bottom side. This is that one corrupt pool that is not in the greatest location for the Plague, so since they're already down here, going to go ahead and pick that up and try to get some value out of their power in this early game. That is going to be a down on the Jake as he tries to sprint burst towards Shaq, but not able to make enough distance to make any safety. And that is going to be a down, and that is also going to be basement. Now this changes things a bit, as the 4-gen is on the top side, but this basement hook can be very tough to come for against a Plague when you have, 2 injured survivors. Fung is the only one not infected at this point. I guess technically Renato is not injured yet, but there the injury comes through from the passive infection. We're going to wait for our eruption to come off cooldown and then make sure that's reapplied to this generator with pretty high progress in this bottom mid-gen. Now, the Plague doesn't want to give this unhook up for free, but they also want to defend these topside gens, so we'll see what their choice is here on whether they want to defend the hook or the generators more. We do find the Alan Wake. This is the no-mither player. So if the down does come through on this player, they are not going to be able to... Oh, a bit of hit validation on that. Oh no, that was actually just the end of the Corrupt Purge. Not able to down the Alan. Now, the unhook has not come through yet. If this killer is able to throw this Alan up on a hook and get back to that basement before the unhook comes through, that could be real problems for the survivor team. It looks like they're going to go ahead and give up that bottom side basement hook and opt to go back to the top side with this Alan. This hook is in a much better position for the killer as they're able to defend the 4-gen on top side. One generator does end up getting finished. I think that was the bottom mid-gen near the water tower building. And we know Fung was on the top side of the map here. Survivor in basement is still on the hook, by the way. Somebody's got to be going for that unhook at this point. Hanatu's the only one that could be on that side of the map. We saw Feng was working this 1 o'clock gen. The unhook finally comes through just before second stage happens, so that is good for the survivors. But now they have to deal with the survivor being hooked in the killer's 3 gen. They're going to protect this area, make sure nobody's stealthing around for the unhook. We did not quite confirm where the Feng went after they pre-left from this generator. So I think we're a bit concerned about where that Feng player could be and if they're going to be able to come in and get this unhook for free, as they are the only healthy survivor. The other 2 survivors would be taking a huge risk to come in for the save at this point. We do see some scratch. No, that's just the glow of the barrel. My mistake. Are we going to get another power usage here? We are. So we have our second usage of power, and 1 more could be used due to the Apple add-ons. But that one's in a great spot being in this top right corner. We do see a second stage coming through on the survivor on the hook right now. And the killer in power, there's really not much you can do. You kind of have to just wait out this power. If the killer's anywhere near the hook, you cannot come in for the save. We do see another bottom side gen being completed, but the Plague player happy to just kind of defend this. The survivor is really not much you can do besides get gen progress while your teammate is on the hook here. For the duration of this power, they are not able to come in for the save as long as the Plague is anywhere nearby. At this point, we might just be confirming a kill here. And as soon as this power ends, we have another pool right here. How devious is that? To just confirm this kill and get this Allen out of the game. We'll be going into the 3v1 very soon. Feng is going to come in here, but with the killer in power, there's not much they can do. They cannot get the unhook on the Allen. He's going to be dead at 3 gens remaining, and the hit comes through on the Feng. We still have plenty of Corrupt Purge to play here. Feng's got to be careful. Going down here could be huge problems for the survivor team. We do see the down coming through, and with agitation, they're going to be able to make pretty much any hook they want here. They could hook on the hill or just deep in this corner. And this is another very tough unhook for the survivors to be able to get. Now with the no mither player eliminated as well, we have the possibility of all survivors being slugged at this point. We'll see how aggressive the Plague wants to be. They are going to be out of Corrupt Purge at this point, so just M1 chase is going to be happening. We know both survivors on the bottom side of the map. That missed skill check is... Oh, that's so unfortunate. I'm not sure if they were letting go of the generator to try to come for the save or what happened there, but that's too much information for this Plague player. They're able to get really far away from this hook and look for players crossing over to the top side of the map. We hear someone over here on the edge map in, like, 4. That is going to be Renato. Again, no Corrupt Purge. We're going to get Shack Pallet dropped there, but decides to go back. We see the scratch marks of the survivor that was going to rotate for the unhook at this point. They're not going to be able to make it to the top side. I'm go ahead and hop in Lager to avoid that slug play. As the no mither player is already gone, they have no other option to avoid the slug besides hopping Locker. And it's going to be up to Renato to be the last survivor to get his team back into this. This is quite tough, though, as the Jake player is also dead. We are going to see the unhook come through, so we have 2v1 situation with 2 generators still remaining. That is going to go ahead and confirm the win for Vicinal in this Plague set, and they're going to be quite happy with that, I suspect, as this killer was picked by Sinister. So up next, we are going to have Vicinal on the killer. I believe they're going to be playing the artist, and that was their killer pick as well. So they should be very confident going into set number 2 to try to take this win in Week 1 Auric League. We'll see if the survivors can go ahead and play this out for the best result possible. Maybe try to pop 1 more gen, maybe even 2 if they're extra sneaky. But somebody's going to have a really good chase here for their teammate to get that last gen done. And a lot of resources being broken as well. We see Shack Pallet is out of the way. This is going to be the Feng player running towards Shack. But again, with no pallet here, we have a hill. They could have balanced landing, but I think they are kind of stuck here in the corner. The Plague being very good at zoning the survivor back into the corner of the map and not letting them make any distance. We are going to go ahead and slug here and try to get the Renato before the 4th generator pops, playing for best result, like I said. This match is already secured for Vicinal, but we will see if Renato is able to stealth and maybe get the Fung back in the game or pop another gen. There's a lot of distance between where the Fung went down and where these generators on top side are, but I think I hear the injured survivor right here, and that is going to be the last survivor found. Barring something really crazy, this is going to go ahead and be a 4K2, a very good result for Vicinal. Extremely well played from both teams, but especially on Vicinal survivors, just having really good comms and being able to pre-leave generators. We're able to deny hooks for as long as possible and get all gens done, and then their killer player playing very, very smart and securing stages when they needed to and making sure they were defending gens the entire time. Renato's going to go down on this rock filler pallet, and that is going to be the end of this match. Very well played from Vicinal. Props to them. We'll see how their artist player will play next. It is not over till it's over. They could definitely still make a comeback here, Sinister. It is a best of 3 set. We're going to be looking for the Fung here and make sure we secure all these extra hook stages. But Fung has already been hooked for at least 1 stage, I believe. So all freshes have been confirmed. Even if they do bleed out, it would be a 12-stage game for the Plague, a very impressive result. Fung has crawled off to who knows where, but I think their only chance of getting out is probably the hatch at this point. And we know the hatch will always spawn at Shack. So I'm sure the Plague is not going to let that happen. Not much else to do here besides walk around and look for the Fung. There's plenty of time for the other survivor to die on the hook. We do actually find the Fung here in the basement, trying to stealth it out while their teammates died on the hook. That is going to be a 12-stage 4K2 for the Plague. We will go to intermission briefly, and we'll be back with the artist set. All right, we are back to set number 2. We're going to now be playing Artist on Azerov's Resting Place. And this is going to be Vicinal up first on the killer, as that was their killer pick. We do see a Hex Totem in this distance as well. And we're on another eye-shaped map, so this shack side is going to be looking like the best 4-gen for the killer to defend, to try to prevent these gens from pop. And we do see a pretty early chase coming through on the Renato that we are going to greet this pallet and go ahead and just opt to take the bird swarm rather than the injury. If they try to play that pallet, that is a bit risky. Now, not sure if any survivors were able to cross over to the bottom side of the map, or top side of the map. If I can get my clock correct, that would be wonderful. Not sure if any survivors were able to swap over and cross to main side, but as Chase is going towards the top side of the map, that tells me that they're still kind of stuck on the bottom side, stealthing out and waiting for these generators to become unblocked, or able to maybe work the one generator that wasn't blocked by Corrupt. Artist seems to be aware of that as well. We are going to set up a crow back towards that generator, and we're going to go ahead and take Chase as we do set up a bit of a stagger shot on that generator. We do get an injury come through on that gen as well, so we know Fung was still on the bottom side of the map working that one uncorrupted gen, and that is going to be enough information for the Artist to go ahead and go back. They do not want to lose any of these bottom side generators, namely the one that is not blocked by Corrupt still. We do see the injured Fung here over in this 7 tile. Going to narrowly dodge that bird. Very well played. Good pathing from the Fung, expecting where that crow was set up. And we're going to try to take Chase back to the middle of the map. This middle map area is quite strong for this map. Definitely one of the better areas to be looping. And that's a very nice shot from the Artist. We're going to get our first down here at 5 gens. The flashlight save not able to come through. Just angle must have been just a little bit off. And we are going to try to carry this Fung back towards the bottom side of the map. Narrowly avoiding the save on the first down of the match. That is going to be our first hook on the Fung. And now this hook is in a good spot for the artist as well. Next to this generator, we know this generator has regressed all the way back with Ruin. And we are able to kind of just defend this bottom side of the map. We have a hook and 4 generators down here. That's the first gen going to pop on the top side of the map. That's the 2 o'clock gen. And the ace is going to take the injury and go straight away from this 4 gen. Survivors have a tough gen setup to break if they do want to try to get out of this situation. It looks like the Renato is going to go ahead and hop in a locker there to get the crows immediately off. Artist is just going to keep harassing and swarming them with crows and trying to keep them from being able to get any gen progress while this Fung is slowly dying on this hook. Artist seems pretty convinced that there's all 3 survivors on the top side of the map here. Yep, and that is correct, as we saw the other 2 survivors and now the Nia as well trying to come through as the only healthy survivor. They do not want to let Fung go into second stage. The unhook comes through without the down as well, so that's a very good unhook from the Nia. They are immediately going to leave the bottom side of this map, and the artist knows that they need to either commit to this, try to get it down, or just sit here in this 4 gen. It looks like they're pretty confident. Nobody's making any progress on the bottom side of the map at this point, so very nice artist down comes through with the crow hit as well. All 3 survivors being injured is quite tough as well. I think Nia's going to get put right back up on the same hook, and we're just going to keep playing this game of how much progress can the survivors make without letting the artist get any downs for free. We do see the ink egg as well, allowing this artist to have 4 total crows able to shoot out here. The reset does come through. We now have 3 healthy survivors, so a bit of a recovery period for the survivor team. Sinister is going to be looking to try to cross over to the bottom side of the map as well and try to get this unhook. Only 2 stages so far and 2 gens complete, but the killer is playing this quite well. I have to say they are not allowing anything to be gotten for free. We do get an injury on the Renato, and now we're going to see some birds aiming back at the hook as this unhook comes through. We do see both survivors hit with the severed hands add-on as well. Both of them are going to be warned by the crows, and both of them going to become injured as well. Nia put it in deep wound from the base kit endurance from borrowed time. We do see 1 survivor trying to break this ruin totem. Not going to be able to get it in time. That had to be 99% done for her to try to commit for that, but is going to have to take an injury state instead of getting the totem done as well. And just like that, we went from 3 healthy survivors to 4 injured survivors, and the artist keeping up a really good pressure on the survivor team. Fung is going to go down here, but they were able to kind of manage to make it back to this top side, so this hook is not going to be quite as easily campable for the artist if they want to also defend the gens around Shaq. We'll see how long they want to hang out around the top side of the map here before they head back to that nasty 4 gen setup. We do see a survivor going ahead and crossing over through the mid-map to the bottom side. So artist is definitely not going to be able to camp this hook out. That is the second hook on Fung. Another locker play to get rid of the crow swarm. Maybe actually going to go back and not let this unhook come through for free. That is a relatively early unhook. We'll see. This could be an early tunnel out on the Fung if the artist wants to commit for it, or if they want to go for the ace. But the ace being healthy makes that a little bit tougher. I think the better play is to just get this Fung out of the game. The stun coming through. Oh my goodness. That was nearly the end of the match for Fung. The Ruin Totem is going to get broken now, and Fung is going to be hanging out on the top side of the map for a hot minute, I would expect, as they are now on Deathhook. Ace is going to avoid the crow hit, but hopping in this locker just to avoid the slug. They're not able to extend chase any further, and there's going to be a hook coming through on the Ace, that first hook stage for him. That is 3 fresh hooks. Now the artist has gotten quite far away from their bottom side 4 gen for a little while now. I would expect some progress is being made on the generators near Shack. You could even potentially double a generator at this point to try to break the gen setup as much as possible. And they know that Fung is not going to be one of the survivors that's working on those bottom side gens. She is going to go down here trying to stealth on the edge map. And that is going to be the third final hook on Fung. All right, problems for the survivors. We have one survivor eliminated now at 3 gens remaining. We're going to send some crows back and try to make sure nobody is breaking their 4-gen, although one of those generators does get complete. So one of the survivors working a gen and one rotating for the unhook. We are going to get the Nia there, so that was their other survivor working on the bottom side gens. A really nice hit from the artist there as well. Nia not able to dodge that crow. And is going to go down here on the top side of the map. At this point, Art is playing very aggressively for downs and chases, not letting the survivors go for resets. Hopefully that's able to maintain enough pressure so that they can't complete all the generators here. But we are basically giving up all of our gen defense for aggressive chases at this point. We know the survivor that just got unhooked is going to be somewhere still on the top side of the map. That is Ace still here near main building. Renato now has to make a decision on whether he wants to come for the unhook or if he wants to get more progress down on Shack side gens. A sprint burst bait into the swing there. Very well played from the Ace. But Ace is not going to be able to get this unhook for free. There is another gen completed on the bottom side of the map. So the 3-gen at this point is completely broken. We still have 2 gens near Shack, but the 3rd generator is all the way down here at main building. So these aggressive chases have allowed the survivors to actually break the generator setup on the bottom side. But is it going to be too little too late? These survivors are rapidly acquiring hook stages. I think we heard some footsteps there. We know Ace is the one that has the flashlight from the attempted save earlier, and he's going to take a tag here in 2 o'clock. And Nia trying to get to pallet is not going to make it to anywhere that their teammates can come for a pallet save. That is going to be the 3rd final hook on Nia as well. So we are down to the 2v1 with only 1 gen remaining. We'll see if any of these survivors are able to delay a down for long enough to allow their teammate to get the final gen done. Art is coming back to make sure there's no extra progress on these bottom side gens. There is a bit of progress here. It looks like we're going to go ahead and pick that and try to defend these last gens. Artist is a killer that can have a lot of map pressure just from her ability to shoot her crows across the entire map with no range limitations. Trying to set up a bit of a slingshot there. But the ink egg actually makes it so that the crows decay a little bit faster, and I think they were not able to get that last crow up to hit the survivor potentially on this generator. We're going to send out some info here, but the survivors do hear that as well, so they're either not working that generator or we're able to get far enough away to not be detected by the killer instinct. We'll see some game sense coming into play here to try to find these last 2 survivors and prevent them from popping the last gen. We know there's nothing really going on the generators on this side of the map, but we're also not finding any survivors, so we may have to walk all the way down to the other side of the map and make sure that we are not letting this last gen get done. We know Ace was still somewhere on top side of the map last seen, so he could be stealthing here. Yep, and we see the Ace. He was able to get a little bit of progress on this 1 o'clock gen, but we know he has sprint burst as well, so no real risk there. Oh, but the crow hit comes through. He waited a little bit too long to try to get out of there. And eruption coming through as well on that other gen. So no real risk of that gen popping for at least a few more seconds. And that is going to be 2nd hook on Ace. I believe the Renato is still on a fresh hook state. Has not been hooked at all. So the artist definitely wants to try to find this Renato and secure all those stages for their team. No information from all 4 of those crows as well, but we do see scratch marks here, and I think that's going to be the Renato and able to maybe secure this for a potential 4K1. Renato's going to try to loop down here near the shack for the potential slight chance that Ace is able to die, and he could get the hatch to get them out with only 9 stages, but it's going to be tough already being injured, and Artist doing a good job of zoning him back away from Shack towards the middle of the map. A great hit as well. That's going to be a 4K1 for Vicinal, a great result for Artist. and we will see if Sinister is able to come in and get a similar result. They will need to get at least a 4K1 to try to force a tie to get to the tiebreaker set. But very well played. We will be right back after this break. All right, welcome back. We are back from intermission. We are now going to have Sinister on the Artist Killer and Vicinal on Survivor as Rob's resting place. We do need to see a 4K1 result or better from the Killer team here to try to secure a tiebreaker game as well. We'll see if Vicinal survivors are able to get as good of a result as they did on the Plague and go ahead and secure this win for week 1 of the Auric League Winter Tournament. A good prediction on the Crow from the artist there. I'm going to go ahead and infect the Vittorio. We're going to take chase towards these corrupted gens. This is not a surprise at all. That is going to be a hit coming through on this edge filler pallet, not throwing the pallet. Vittorio taking the hill, maybe positioning for a balanced landing if the killer commits. But looking back at these generators, I think the artist realizing that the 4-gen setup is definitely on main side this time, and opting to go ahead and leave the corrupted side of the map as there's nothing the survivors can really do over there to progress the game. The reset coming through on Vittorio. We know there's at least 2 survivors down there, as well as the Meg that just got hit by that crow. Slightly different add-on choice from this killer as well, opting to not bring Ink Egg and bringing the Black Tar instead. So they are not going to have 4 crows, rather just 3. But instead be able to send those crows a little bit faster. Looks like there hasn't been any real progress made on the bottom side at this point, so we're going to go ahead and look back for any survivors trying to cross over for the remaining few seconds of this corrupt intervention. Good dodge from the survivors on that crow as well. Nothing really happening anywhere else besides just trying to play this map to the best of their ability and not get caught out anywhere to give the killer any free pressure. Vittorio going to take chase again here in the middle map. A bit of a mind game there, able to secure an injury and a hit, and Vittorio is going to go back to bottom side. Corrupt intervention is over, so any survivors still on this bottom side of the map would be able to start progressing gens. We do hear a little bit of progress starting on this hill gen as well. Vittorio trying to get away from Shaq and get as much distance as possible. Artist also setting up crows to try to knock any survivors off of the topside gens as they could try to find, but still committing to chase with this Vittorio. G-Bot nearly making that pallet, but not able to quite get there. Trying to crawl under for any potential pallet savers. A flashlight save does come through from the Meg. Very nice. That is going to extend this first hook for a little bit longer. And now the artist has to try to secure another down before they can get their first hook in this game. And making the pallet as well. Very nice. Using the lockers to get the crows off of them. Immediately going to be reswarmed again, but not down for at least a little bit longer. We know, I think the Meg looks like they're still lurking around nearby to try to help this chase, while the other 2 survivors are undoubtedly working gens as well. Meg comes in to try to take a hit, but they are going to get infected with the crows from that. Is that going to matter at all? It looks like not. They're going to go ahead and just take the M1 on the Meg as both the survivors are getting the swarm crows off of them. This chase has gone on a little bit long now at this point. The survivors undoubtedly making progress on topside gens, as well as the bottom right gen is going to pop for the chase. And there's the topside gen, so that 4 gen is kind of broken. We still have a 3 gen that they could potentially play on the top side of the map, but I have to say Sinister is playing this early game very, very well from the survivor side. Sable comes in for the hit take, able to take the crow hit from the artist as well. But still no downs coming through. We do have 3 injured survivors now, so they're going to have to play a little bit careful if they want to try to help their teammates in chase. That was likely the survivor working this bottom side generator, and Ace was working somewhere on the top side. We do get another down, no pallets or flashlights to be seen, so that is going to be the first hook on the Sable. And we'll see how much pressure this artist is able to keep up. We do still have 2 injured survivors, potentially going for a reset somewhere on the opposite side of the map. Artist is going to be trying to swarm those crows. We do see the reset coming through on Vittorio as well. And we find the Vittorio, so there were 2 survivors somewhere over here. Looks like they just let go of that generator over at 3, or 2, I should say. And yeah, that was the ace that was working this top side 4-gen. It's a bit mind game there at the window, trying to potentially, I think that was the lie, to get that extra distance, but does take an injury for it, unfortunately. The unhook comes through as well. We know there was still probably the Meg working somewhere on bottom side of the map, so that unhook is a bit free as the artist has crossed all the way over back to top side. Narrowly dodging the crows there. Very well played from Ace. We're going to try to play Bus now, although artist can kind of just set bird at this pallet and shut that loop down effectively. Ace going wide to avoid the crow hit there. Very well played. I have to say this is a really good start for the survivors, only having one hook so far and 2 gens complete. And the nasty 4-gen setup has kind of been broken, the one that the killer was able to play in the last match. So artist will see what tricks they can pull out of their bag of tricks to get something done here. Vicinal playing very well, playing very smart and getting their distance early in this match, just like we saw them in the Plague set. Not giving any hits for free here. Near swing and a miss there on the Mega. Oh, just the killer instinct, not quite getting the swarm on the Meg here. We're going to be trying to get an injury and a down. The middle map on Azerov's resting place is just really, really strong looping area for the survivors. You can see over nearly all these walls, especially a tall killer like the Plague. The artist, both the Plague and the artist, but we're on artist now. Meg is able to repel the swarm of crows, but we are going to be sending crows back to the other side of the map. I'm gonna get the blind there to try to get as much distance away from this pallet as possible, but effectively is going to go down in this corner. A very decent chase from the Meg, but that is going to be worth 2 generators for the survivors. Vicinal doing a very good job of gen pressure and having all 3 survivors healthy, just the result of very good chases from their survivor team. Now the 3-gen is going to be broken. We have 1 gen still on the shack side and 2 gens over by main building. But that is so far away from this hook, I don't think the artist can really afford to camp this at all. They're going to have to venture away and try to get more pressure on these survivors. We are going to see all 3 crows being sent to the top side of the map, as well as G-Bot getting hit by one of them and getting swarmed. Although the unhook does come through, the artist got just far enough away that Sable was able to sneak in and get that unhook. Oh, very good dodge as well from Slasher. Waiting at the window. Oh, just makes that window vault. Artist a bit confused on how she was able to actually get through there. Really thinking that was going to be another down, and now she makes it back to shack. Pallet is going to go down there. Not able to throw the pallet, but Sable is nearby. That firecracker is just out of range for the save, it looks like. Sable does hop in a locker to avoid being hit while the artist is carrying anyone. And that is going to be a basement hook for Meg, but a very good result from the survivors. They are going to go ahead and get all 5 gens done there as well. That is going to secure the win for Vicinal. And we'll see what result they play for in the end game here if they try to go for this basement hook. Slasher is already on death hook if this unhook would come through, so any unhook attempt to get a better result would have to be a 4 survivor out. And against artist in basement, that is really, really tough, especially with Severed Hands add-on. She's kind of able to just swarm any and all survivors in any vicinity of the stairs to the basement, so I expect the survivors are going to take this 3 out. We're just setting our birds to try to defend at this point. We know survivors are, yeah, they're going to go ahead and take their outs there. Very, very well played by Vicinal. They played that very, very smart and got gen progress when they needed to and took chases to the right spot, so that is going to secure them the win for set 2 and the match. that is it for this match of Auric League. We will see you guys in our next one.